Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, my name is Geoff Peters, and today I will be sharing a speech entitled, What is Inflation? Before I begin, I'd like to give a bit of background on myself. As well as being a software developer and musician, I am also an investor in many different kinds of investments. And recently I've become especially interested in the economy because I want to understand what are various topics such as inflation and interest rates and how do things all work together and what is a good investment for my family's future. So today I'd like to share a fundamental topic in economies that affect everyone all over the world, and that is, what is inflation? Today I'll share what is inflation exactly, what is the definition of it, what are some possible causes of inflation, and then what are some ways that you can protect yourself against inflation? So first of all, what is inflation? In the simplest terms, this is the raising of prices in the economy over time. Everyone is getting so used to the fact that every few years, the price of milk in the store or eggs, or even buying a home requires more and more money to buy those items. It seems like the general trend is that prices are always going up. And if we compare the prices today to what they were 10 years ago, you'll notice a really big difference. There's different ways to measure inflation. The most common way to measure it is what's called CPI, or Consumer Price Index. This takes a basket of goods that are typically sold in or bought by consumers and looks at the average prices of those goods over the past year and calculates a percentage increase that's averaged out across that. But CPI is not the only measure of inflation. In fact, inflation can be viewed as a vector of prices across all the products in the economy. You may notice that some things are actually getting cheaper. Televisions, such as the 40-inch TV, when they first came out, the really thin ones, used to cost around $4,000. And now you can pick one up for maybe $200. So because of the pace of technology, some items have gotten a lot cheaper. So you have to think of inflation not just as a single number, but looking across all the prices, across all the products. So I hope that answers the question, what is inflation? The second question I'd like to answer is, what causes inflation? So let's imagine a hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm selling a television on Facebook Marketplace, and I've decided the best price to sell that product is $500 because based on what prices are currently out there and what I know people are willing to pay, I'm going to sell that TV for $500. But then suddenly, maybe the government gives everyone in the country enough money to double their money. So maybe they give everyone about $1 million. So you can think you've got the same TV, but now suddenly everyone out there has a lot more money. Do you think the price of the TV is going to go up? Of course it will, because you've got the same number of people buying things. They just have more money and they have the same number of goods. So the thing that's going to change is the price. So the result of this thought experiment is if you have the amount of money in the country going up, but the same number of goods available to purchase, the difference is that prices will increase, and that is one cause of inflation. Another cause of inflation is on the supply side. Let's say there is a conflict or a war, or maybe an incident in a factory, and the factories are not able to produce as many goods. The production lines are shut down. In that case, there's fewer goods available to purchase, but people still need those goods. So in that case, the price can also rise. That's the typical idea of supply and demand. If you've ever taken microeconomics, you'll have learned about supply and demand, and both of those sides can increase the prices. So let's now look at ways that you can protect yourself against inflation. The worst thing you can do for your finances is just keep all your money in a bank account in cash. Because the value of your money, if it's not earning any interest or any growth, it's just going to lose value over time. Because $100, if you put it under your mattress 20 years ago, is not going to be able to buy as many goods as $100 cash today. So my number one tip for all of you, if you have any money that you're not going to be spending in the next year, put that into some kind of an investment. And you may be thinking, oh, investments are risky. I don't want to risk my money. But there are some kinds of investments that are very low risk or risk-free. In the United States, they're called a CD or certified deposit. In Canada, they're known as GICs or term deposits. This is where you can go to your bank and say, I'm going to give you my money. You can lock it away for 1 year and I will earn a fixed rate of interest. And if you don't want to lock it away, you want to access the money anytime, you can also do what's called a cashable CD or a cashable GIC. In that case, the bank will take the money for 1 year and they'll give you an interest payment on it, but you can also cash it out anytime and access your money. So this is the number one tip I recommend for anyone, any business or any person. If you have any money that you're not going to need right away, put it away in one of these investments so that you'll earn some interest. That interest that you earn will partially offset the amount of inflation that the society is experiencing. Of course, if you have money that you're going to be putting away for a lot longer, maybe 5 or 10 or 20 years, it's better to put that in some kind of an investment such as a stock portfolio, bonds, real estate, or even cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, which seems to be a great investment these days. So in conclusion, I've shared, first of all, what is inflation? What are some causes of inflation, such as the prices going up due to various factors? And finally, I've shared some ways that you can protect you and your family against inflation. I believe I have a couple of minutes remaining. So I would like to open it up for 1 minute. If anyone has any questions, feel free to share those with me now and I can answer for you. Any questions, please put up your hand or go ahead and ask any questions.
Oh, sorry. No, I just wanted to go and ask, what are some examples of safe investments that are maybe, I know you've given a few, but what are some other examples of like safe investments that somebody could look into?
Yes, so depending on your bank will offer various investments for you that you don't have to go to an investment advisor. Usually you can go to the bank directly and find different investments. So the risk-free investment essentially is the CD or the GIC, which gives you a fixed rate of interest when you purchase it, and you can get the money anytime if it's cashable, or if it's locked in for a year, then you know you're guaranteed to get the money back after 1 year. So that's the lowest amount of risk you can get. It's like a fixed portfolio that's not going to give you any downside risk, but also the rates are not going to be very high. So if you want a bit more interest or you're willing to take a bit more risk, you can go to something like a mutual fund or ETF, such as a ETF that tracks the markets. Or even if you want to dip your toes a bit into some Bitcoin, there's different ETFs for that as well. Of course, if you have purchased some real estate, some of the most cost-effective ways of investing money is simply just paying down your mortgage a bit faster, because that will mean you pay less interest over time. So definitely, if you have a home and you have a bit of extra money, why not try to make a bit of an extra prepayment on that loan so you end up paying less interest over time? Great. Hopefully you answered the question. Thanks very much, everyone, for your attention. And I hope this speech has been thoughtful and thought-provoking for you. I'll turn it back to our Toastmaster, Javan. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Geoff, for that insightful speech.